In a quiet Nigerian neighborhood, Clara, a kind-hearted, hardworking young woman, was caught in the chaos of love and indecision. 3 suitors pursued her, each offering a different glimpse of what her future might hold. The first was Michael, gentle and kind, but plagued by deep trust issues. His constant insecurities weighed heavily on Clara's heart. The second was Daniel, confident, charismatic, and ambitious. But he was distant and uninterested in building a real connection, viewing Clara as nothing more than a trophy to enhance his status. The third was Chris, manipulative, entitled, and deceitful. Chris was always begging Clara for money, fabricating stories about his sick mother, fake business ventures, or urgent financial crisis. Unsure of what to do, Clara visited a well-respected prophetess for guidance. With a hopeful heart, Clara poured out her story, praying for clarity. The prophetess delivered her prophecy with conviction: Chris is your God-ordained husband. You must endure for now. His path will change, but only if you are patient. God has a plan. Clara was stunned. How could the man who disrespected her, drained her finances, and treated her so poorly be the one destined for her? Still, she trusted the prophetess's words and chose to believe. She let go of Michael and Daniel, turning her full attention to Chris. Clara endured his constant lies, his emotional manipulation, and his neglect. Every time he begged for money, she gave it, holding on to the belief that she was walking in God's will. She worked tirelessly to sustain them, even as her own needs went unmet. Chris continued to squander her earnings on frivolous things and other women, leaving Clara overworked and broken. Whenever Clara doubted, she returned to the prophetess, questioning if she had misunderstood. Each time, the prophetess reassured her, "Be patient. This is God's plan. He will change." One Sunday afternoon, Clara refused to give Chris money and he started yelling, "I don't blame you," he yelled. "It's because you're the one with the money, right? You think you can control me just because you have a job." Clara sat silently, her hands clasped tightly, fighting back tears. She had refused to give him money again, this time for one of his countless lies about a business idea and his mother being admitted in the hospital. Chris sneered, pacing the room. "You're so selfish, Clara. What kind of woman treats her man like this? You know what? Forget it. I'm done. This relationship is over." Clara flinched at his words. He had said it before, every time she refused to hand over her hard-earned money. And yet, each time, he would return with apologies and empty promises. The weight of his insults bore down on her, but deep inside, a question lingered: was this really love, or just manipulation in disguise? But Chris did not change. Instead, his deceit grew. One day, Clara discovered that Chris had partnered with his friends to scam her out of a large sum of money. She also saw a WhatsApp conversation Chris had with an herbalist to whom he gave my full name, asking him to make me confused and to always surrender all my earnings to him. Devastated by the betrayal, she confronted him, but his response was cold and unapologetic. Clara's decision to stick with Chris, despite his flaws, was heavily influenced by the prophetess. But the guidance didn't come for free. Every time Clara visited the prophetess, she was asked to give money for prayers. The prophetess would assure her that Chris was destined for greatness, that his future was bright, and that other women were trying to snatch him away. "Clara," the prophetess would say over the phone, "I see a vision. A woman is plotting to take Chris from you. You need to act fast. Send some money so I can pray and fight this spiritual battle for you." Clara, desperate to hold on to what she believed was her divine destiny, complied every time. In the days that followed, Clara reflected on her journey. She realized she had relied too heavily on others to interpret God's will for her life. She had trusted the prophetess over her own discernment, ignoring the signs that her soul had been warning her about. Determined to rebuild, Clara focused on deepening her personal relationship with God. She prayed, studied, and learned to listen for His voice directly. She vowed never to depend solely on others to guide her path. Meanwhile, Michael and Daniel had moved on, finding love elsewhere. Clara accepted this with grace, knowing her worth was not tied to her past mistakes. As Clara walked away, leaving Chris behind, she couldn't help but wonder. Was she truly free from a life of manipulation, or had she just walked away from her destiny? What if Chris was the man the prophetess saw? What if patience was all she needed? Or perhaps she was right to let go and seek her own truth, and those other two men. Did she let go of her real husband? Or was this all part of a bigger lesson?
What do you think? Did Clara make the right choice? Was Chris really the one, or was her journey meant to lead her to someone else? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more intriguing and thought-provoking stories.